Hi, I'm Joshua Weaver, Staff Liaison for the State Bar of Texas to Trail. This video introduces some of the ways AI is already being used in law practice, from legal research to document automation, and what it might mean for your daily work. So when you're thinking about how AI can be most useful in your day-to-day practice, my thinking goes to a four-part scaffolding. And so there's reading, there's writing, there's operations, and there's learning. And of all of the four, I think of these as sort of the core tools of what it means to be an attorney, right? We read, we write, we learn a lot, and then, unfortunate for most of us, we may have to also manage people and run a firm. The way that AI can be plugged into each of these sections is to think about the day-to-day repeatable tasks that you have to do and try and carve out little jobs that can be delegated to the artificial intelligence. And so my advice is don't take on everything at once, right? Think about your systems, think about your process, think about the parts of those four parts of your day, and then carve out little jobs and get the AI involved one thing at a time. When you're thinking about legal research and document review, there's probably a few big names that come to mind. So there's Westlaw, LexisNexis, vLex, and all three of these companies have some version of an artificial intelligence product that they are currently providing for their customers. Now, there's clearly a lot of potential for AI to help with legal research. However, this is an area of the field that remains somewhat tricky, and it is in a somewhat immature place in its current development. I would expect that within the next 1 to 2 years, the products that are currently there are going to mature and get quite a lot better. In addition to the legal research, there's a huge need for AI in document review. And so we see that discovery products and other ancillary products are starting to add AI to their offerings. My current favorite one is an application called LitView, which is designed to handle really big, really messy sets of data, organize that, and then use the AI to help you go through it more quickly. Keep an eye out for this area. The market is very young, and so there's going to be a lot of movement and a lot of new companies popping up over the next couple of years. You might wonder, what's the big payoff if you use AI, right? Especially if you have a business mind, you might be thinking in terms of the cost and the expected return and doing that calculation. So think about the times before bicycles, right? Before bicycles, who was the person in the village that could run the longest or run the fastest? That was your guy if you needed to get information from one place to another, right? Then the bicycle came along. Suddenly, everyone in the village is capable of going further and faster than the fastest and the most endurance runner in the village. Artificial intelligence is very much the same. So from a mental perspective, it allows you to think faster, to be more efficient, to be more creative, and it gives you a 24/7, very patient, very upbeat assistant that can help you think through difficult problems. Because at our root, we are problem solvers as attorneys, this is a particularly applicable use of AI. So even if you aren't using it to draft work product, just having an ongoing conversation with an artificial intelligence can help tease out the important thoughts in your brain and help you get to the same conclusions faster and more efficiently. I've talked to many organizations over the last couple of years about implementing AI, and there's a common theme. I will talk to somebody who's a decision maker in the organization. They say, we're really excited about the potential use of AI. We can't wait to get it going in our organization. And then I'll bump into them a year later, and I'll ask them how that implementation's going, and they have taken exactly 0 steps to start using AI in their organization, and they can't figure out why. And I think that the common answer, the underlying theme that I've picked up on is that even if you get really excited about the use of AI, at its root, it is a genuinely scary experience to move an organization over to using artificial intelligence. There are naturally going to be people that are highly skeptical of using AI. There are going to be people that flat out refuse to use it. There are going to be people that are reckless with their eagerness to use it. And so it's a new type of technology, and with that comes a lot of very practical challenges when it comes to managing people. I think the real key comes back to education, right? What do we fear? We fear the unknown. So the more you can educate, the more you can explain, the more that you can give concrete examples to you and your staff, the better people will be positioned to become responsible adopters of artificial intelligence. I think when people imagine working with AI in the future, they overcomplicate things and they imagine some sort of like science fiction scene from a movie, maybe like Iron Man, swishing around holographics in a room. But I think the reality of working with AI will actually be much simpler. The user interface will be primarily your voice and your camera. The artificial intelligence will sit as a layer that floats on your device above all the other software. It will hear and see all the same things that you hear and see, and it will just be always on as a resource to help you and understand the problems that you're facing. In addition to that, it has memory. So the more you interact with the AI, the better it comes to understand you, the better it starts to understand your preferences and how to be more useful to you. So I really think that the future of working with AI will feel very effortless, and it'll feel very natural, and it'll feel like having an always-on assistant that you can just talk to when you need help. If you're thinking ahead as a law firm and you're trying to prepare for the future of AI-empowered law, I think the biggest question you need to consider is how to deal with the disruption to the billable hour. So we all understand that the standard model for many law firms is that you hire staff, you bill them out, and that earns profit for the firm. However, AI looks to disrupt the speed at which we will be able to perform legal tasks. Things that used to take an entire team, hours, and perhaps weeks to perform are now going to be one person working with an AI, and it may only take minutes to an hour to get that same task done. Now, the Texas Ethics Opinion 705 has already clarified that any time saved using AI cannot be billed to the client. So, if you are in a billable hour model in your law firm, I think this is a problem that you need to get ahead of by having conversations today before this disruption happens about how you're going to adjust your profit model when things are working more efficiently in the future. These are just a few of the many ways AI is being applied across the legal field. Take a deeper dive into the tools, examples, and resources available below to see what might be useful in your practice. Again, I'm Joshua Weaver. Thank you.